Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast, the only podcast coming from Central Maine's best comic book store by default. My name is Zach, and with me is
Jared. And I feel like you need a little more enthusiasm in the open. You're kind of like, Editor's Note Podcast, I'm Zach. There's no pop to it.
I don't want to promote other people, but someone said to me this week, Lewiston counts as Central Maine, and there's a shop in Lewiston. I'm like, is Lewiston Central Maine?
Yes, actually, that's where Central Maine Medical Center is.
Yes, I don't know. I kind of think Lewiston is like no man's land.
Do they have their own podcast?
No, there we go.
See, there you go.
I'll change the phrasing slightly. I don't know, because saying Kennebec County is overly specific.
The
and overly
capital areas.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you say? It's Central Maine's only comic book podcast, or best comic book store by default?
Yeah, which I guess isn't by default if there's another one. I was like, I guess Lewiston.
Or maybe you should do some reconnaissance on this comic book store in Lewiston.
Yeah,
I'll go down there. I'll visit them. I'll go there undercover.
I haven't been there
I'll wear a trench coat and a hat.
7, 8, probably closer to 10 years.
What, you haven't been to Lewiston?
I haven't been to Lewiston in a long time either. I drive through Lewiston occasionally, but the last time I stopped in Lewiston...
Was the last time you drove through Lewiston and didn't lock your doors?
I'm not that worried about Lewiston.
That's a good point. Well, there are parts of Lewiston, but they're parts of every community, I'm sure.
So I don't know. I'm like, do I need to redo the intro? I might.
No. I like it. I like it. It's mellow.
You know what this week, or you know what it is now?
It's
nothing major.
It's after Labor Day, so you're not supposed to wear white anymore?
It is after Labor Day, which also means it's the end of the summer movie season.
Oh, well, Suicide Squad's the last big summer movie.
What a pile of crap. The summer in general.
I had a lovely summer.
Well, it's extended so far out now, I wouldn't even consider saying Civil War was a summer movie, because that came out in, April.
Yeah, no, April isn't summer movie. Summer movie season is Memorial Day through Labor Day. That's summer. Memorial Day to Labor Day.
I don't know. It feels like a summer movie. It might have been the very, very beginning of May. It must have been the first. I think it was the first weekend of May, because that was what Marvel's been doing for X number of years now.
Yeah, because it wasn't Memorial Day weekend. Because they knew they would get a boost from Memorial Day weekend. All
right, let's start it off with favorite movie this summer and biggest disappointment.
Ooh, favorite movie of the summer and the biggest disappointment? Ooh, I'd say my favorite was probably Suicide Squad. I liked it. I was entertained.
Okay. I made a face.
You made a face. Somebody was talking to me about the show the other day. They really enjoyed the listener question, but they said, I just have one he's like, critique might be a strong word, but I'm going to use it anyway, about the show. Zach doesn't like anything. Zach is a miserable curmudgeon.
I like things when they're good.
But
I don't apologize for standards.
Your standards are probably unrealistic.
No, they're not, because there's plenty of good out there. Hold everyone to a high standard.
I think sometimes maybe your standards are a little too high, too unattainable, and that makes you miserable. I'm not saying lower your standards and don't have any standards at all. I'm just saying relax a little bit. Open your mind. Expand your horizons.
No, because the second we let off, we get back to 2003's Daredevil and the Hulk. I'm not going back.
Okay, well, see, that's different. That's like going back to the one trashy hookup you had one night, and you still have a number in your phone, and times are desperate, and you're lonely.
This is very specific. How was your Labor Day?
Busy, but not due to that. I don't know. I really like Suicide Squad. Batman v Superman wasn't that bad either.
That was March.
That was March. Oh. What else did I see in the theaters this summer? It was that forgettable. This summer movie season.
There were other such gems as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, that was a disappointment.
Or Ben-Hur. Which
I haven't seen Ben-Hur yet.
Yeah, neither has anyone else.
Oh. Well, it has Morgan Freeman in it.
Is that the one with dreadlocks?
Yes.
Dreadlock
playing Sheik Ilderim.
Best summer movie, if you want to count Civil War or not, up to you. If you count it, Civil War. If you don't, Star Trek Beyond.
Ooh, yeah, there we go. I forgot about that one. Yes, absolutely, Star Trek Beyond.
Biggest disappointment is Suicide Squad. Not the worst movie. There's a difference. Biggest disappointment, because I wanted it to be good, and the marketing made it look like it was going to be good.
Does it seeing this dime piece at the bar, and you're get conversation going, you get your hopes up, things are looking good, and then all of a sudden there's just fizzles out.
How was your Labor Day?
I was celebrating the hard work of the blue-collar men and women of this country. I had a football game.
Okay.
Had dinner with Mom. talked about family things.
You have some very specific.
I'm trying to relate.
examples.
I'm trying to relate to the listener this week because apparently they think I don't look at women. They don't think that women acknowledge me. One of those statements is true. I'll let you be the judge.
But I don't know. Summer movie season. It wasn't a very good summer for movies.
No, not really.
And there were plenty of them.
I went to the movies more this summer than I had recently. I think mostly because of the show. But I mean, I would have seen Star Trek Beyond. I don't know if I would have necessarily seen. I mean, I probably would have seen Suicide Squad in theaters. I definitely would not have gone to see Ninja Turtles. That's a definite. I would not have spent my time on that.
Oh, another piece of crap was X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, saw that too.
Yeah, that's.
I spent a ton of money in the theaters this summer.
We saw a lot of forgettable
Where's my 20%? Where's my money?
But there we go. Summer 2016. You mixed bag of crap.
Wow. It's coming from a man who had a really good summer overall, I would say.
On the movie side of things.
Okay.
You know what we got this week? Just gonna have you keep guessing things you can't possibly know the answer to?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for telling me in advance.
We had our first celebrity write-in.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm on the show, so I feel like we already have celebrity power, some star power on the show.
We got an audio clip sent in for you.
Oh, an audio clip sent in for me?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
This is the first time you're hearing this.
From a celebrity. Like a real celebrity.
Honest to God celebrity.
Okay.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, reminding kids, don't be a Jerry Six and eat cold pizza. It'll give you worms and, take a bite out of crime.
Wow, McGruff.
The biggest celebrity we can get is a talking dog.
Yeah, McGruff the Crime.
In all fairness, a talking dog is impressive.
Listen, I appreciate the sentiment, McGruff the Crime Dog, but aren't there like more important things to do, like fight like crime and drugs and not judge my pizza?
Everyone has to pick their hill to die on.
Oh yeah. Well, I was hoping McGruff wouldn't choose to die on the Jerry Six Pizza Hill, which, by the way, saw one of the listener emails that whoever you are, jerk face, saying, "Dear Zach, a guy who orders his pizza from Town Fair Tire, I expressed how I felt about the whole pizza situation in last week's show, and if you want to know how I feel and you weren't sure, go back and listen to it. Pretty straightforward."
You're real testy about this.
Yeah, people are really hung up on me microwaving pizza. There are way worse things to do with food. Way worse things.
But that'll be a question for another episode.
Oh, their question?
Yeah, I'm not using that this one.
Oh, no, don't use their question. They insulted
like, no.
me. They insulted me. Listen, I will gladly stand here or sit here as I am on this couch, which I've moved multiple times for you.
Once, twice,
3 times.
4 times.
Four times. Yeah,
total.
4 times total. Out of the kindness of my heart, moving this couch, I'm going to sit on it and defend my right to drink Bud Light and reheat pizza in the microwave. So take that. Yeah.
It's real lowbrow American of you.
How is that lowbrow American? I'm standing up for my rights. You know, they wrote that thing about rights. I got rights, you know? Didn't they write that thing down the street?
All right.
Time for the news?
It is.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Another week, another batch of Star Wars news.
You make it sound like it's a weekly thing.
It basically is.
No. Well, I mean,
Disney wants to remind us, like, you know what's coming? Star Wars. You know what else is coming? Christmas. Let's put them together.
Right. I think this movie Disney's putting a lot on Rogue One. It's the first Star Wars movie that doesn't really fit into the storyline, and we know what happens on either side of it. So one problem that movie's going to have is if you introduce any of the mainline characters, you know that they're not going to die or be in any real trouble.
Well, some of those characters aren't coming in. Ian McDermott says no Emperor in this movie.
Do you believe it, though? Do you really believe it?
I wouldn't be surprised one way or the other.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that's like news. I think that I would take that with a grain of salt.
He's like, I hear that Vader guy's in it.
Well, true.
He could just show up as like an evil hologram.
He could. Maybe we get some Snoke. Maybe we get some background on Snoke.
That would be weird if they snuck that in, rewriting the history.
Are they? Who is Snoke? We don't really know. Maybe Snoke is the Emperor.
It's probably not the Emperor.
No, the Emperor is very dead.
There is that. But in the extended universe, he came back because of some reason.
Yeah, Force, whatever.
He only fell 100 feet and then...
The ether of the Force.
And then a giant space station exploded, but he survived.
Right.
Yeah, you're reaching poorly written Star Wars stories. Not all of them.
Right.
In all fairness, I know nothing about the old extended universe.
I know the movies.
Yeah.
I never read the books.
We got an image of a new droid, C2B5.
Bingo.
Yeah, just about.
You sunk my battleship.
I got a good strategy for Battleship. Haven't lost a game ever because of it.
What is that?
I'd put the big ship, the largest ship, and the smallest ship in a line with one another, so eventually the first one to sink, Node would swing back around to that general area.
Ooh. Hey, you want to play Battleship?
No. I'll never play it again now. I've retired.
Undefeated.
Because people would sink one, and they'd just be like, oh.
There's nothing else there.
Yeah. They go find another spawn.
That's a good strategy. That's very impressive. What if they
feed a lot of children that way?
What if they stumble upon like the middle of it and they kind of go in either direction and they like sink one and then on to the other?
Because then they'll just think it's one of the other side's ships.
But at some point they'd be like, oh, I didn't sink that ship.
No, they will, because they'll be like, if there's like a 4-space ship, they go hit 2 spaces on the big one and then 2 on the little one. It will only register as you sunk my battleship, not you sunk my 2-slot battleship.
Oh, you're playing like the electric version.
No,
you're supposed to announce that they sunk a ship.
Yeah, but you don't say what size the ship was. So if they hit 4 marks, you say you sunk my battleship, they think that you only...
That's cheating, though.
It's not cheating, it's being smart.
No.
It's outsmarting children.
You have to tell them if you beat the Destroyer, which is the 2-peg one.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You don't clarify. You're like...
It's in the rules.
Yeah, you say you sunk my
battleship.
battleship.
You're a cheating bastard.
You sunk my battleship, not you sunk this very specific battleship.
No, you have the Destroyer, the battleship, the submarine, the cruiser, and the carrier.
Yeah, and you don't identify.
Yes, you do. It's in the rules.
You absolutely do not identify.
I'm going to fact-checking the show.
You just say, you sunk my battleship.
You don't always say you sunk my battleship.
That's literally all you say.
No, it's not.
The only other thing you say is coordinates.
Battleship rules. All right.
I think it's just like a Battleship rules, like people who really like that terrible movie.
The rules of Battleship. Oh, yeah. People like that, then they need it.
No one likes that movie.
How to play. It's a hit. Oh, sinking a ship. Oh, see? Once all the holes in any one ship are filled with red pegs that has been sunk, the owner of the ship must announce which ship was sunk.
I've never played that way.
It's in the official rules.
I've never heard a child play that way.
It's in the damn rules.
Well, then I guess kids should have been double-checking the rules.
Oh, you mean yourself included?
No, because I won with my workaround.
You are a cheater. You cheat at Battleship. I know not to play Battleship with you ever again.
There's not a lot to say about this droid. It looks like R2, but black. And it's an Imperial droid. Not much to him. And what they said was these droids don't get personalities because the Imperial technicians wipe their memories so often that keeps them subservient.
That makes sense. It makes very much sense. I mean, think about all the reconditioning of the stormtroopers that they were doing or talking about in Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's kind of a dick move. Do a software reboot. Start it fresh.
Well, it's like if you get a virus on your phone or computer.
I've never gotten a virus on my phone.
Me either, thankfully. Computer, yes. Here come the emails.
But new droid, he looks like an evil R2.
Well, I mean, the Imperials aren't known for being nice people.
No, generally not.
Although it's kind of like one of those like Life of Brian kind of things. Like, what have the Romans ever done for us? What has the Empire ever done for us? They've secured intergalactic trade. The Romans built aqueducts, water. They brought peace.
I just like their choice of like a color scheme. Like, we're going to look as evil as possible. Even our robots.
Dark.
Yeah.
Like, but the stormtroopers are white. Figure that out.
The nice guys get the primary colors.
But the stormtroopers are white. So figure that out.
A stormtrooper died recently. The most famous stormtrooper of all. The guy who hit his head when he was walking underneath the door.
Oh, what? That's really strange that you would know that.
I think it's the other reason why I saw his obituary.
Most famously known for being that guy who hit his head in that Star Wars movie.
Yeah. His
stormtrooper actually hit something.
Yeah, he did. Marvel or DC?
Let's go DC. Alphabetically.
DC. We'll start off with a couple of things. All right, we'll start off with there is a new show that is in development for Warner Brothers Television, done by Greg Berlanti, which would put him up to 5 or 6 ongoing TV shows, which I think makes him the hardest working person in the world.
Wow.
They're looking at doing a Black Lightning TV show.
You showed me a picture, that's all I know.
Yeah, he's a real, a lower than D grade hero. He's had some time on the Justice League, but overall, he's not really up there.
The token lightning shooting guy on the Justice League.
Pretty much. He's been around since 1977. This would at least make the most diverse leading man they would have out of their other shows between Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow. I think this guy's also doing the Archie TV show.
Again, I'm still surprised there's an Archie TV show.
If it gets picked up, great. If it doesn't, there's still plenty of other shows.
It's not like this guy's hurting for work.
No, I think he's fine.
In
fact, I think he's going to implode, and he may be a robot.
Oh, so imploding, he's going to turn into a single cinder. That's what he's going to do. Just
Probably.
Which, by the way, Neil deGrasse Tyson sent out a tweet today. It was just really oh, wow, that really brightened my day. It's in 5 billion years, the sun will have expanded to consume Earth's orbit, and Earth will be vaporized into nothing but a cinder. Have a nice day.
Well, that's positive.
Well, at least I, don't have to worry about that. Also, there's an asteroid that NASA's chasing down that has a 1 in 2,700 chance of impacting the Earth, but that's not going to happen until the 22nd century. So we're good. We're good. I hope for now.
Yeah.
That's my news from outer space.
Of all the things that could get us,
it's bound to happen at some point.
I think we're overdue. I saw read an article. They were for every world-ending event, this is the longest it's ever gone without there being one.
True. I mean, you got the Yellowstone volcano, which is probably due to erupt at some point. That would really mess things up. Although an asteroid would also be quite significant. Aliens. I think we're due to make contact with aliens.
We'll just have to build a wall to keep them out first. Space wall.
A space wall.
I guess we'll go with the slightly sadder news, but given how long, my God, it's not that sad. Leslie H. Martinson died today at age 101. He died on Saturday. He did a lot of TV in the 60s, including 2 episodes of the Batman TV show. But on top of that, he also did the first Batman movie in 1966.
Ooh. I didn't know the name, so.
No, in all fairness, neither did I.
Huh.
But, I can't feel bad. He was out there, he made his mark, he's done work that will be remembered forever, and he made it to 101.
I'd like to make it to 101.
I would not, but...
You've always, you want to cap it 85?
I want to cap it usefulness.
Usefulness. Well, there's some days that you're not very useful at all.
Oh, so. Oh, God. Excuse me for a minute.
Welcome to the Editors Note Podcast. I'm Jared, and I'm looking for a new co-host.
He's walking away.
He's just leaving.
Why didn't he bring shoes?
With the Hulk music playing in the background at the end of the Hulk episode. He's walking off after he made a friend, and then he lost his friends because he hulked out and freaked out.
I can't believe the internet has never gravitated towards it. I rewatched that show when I was in college. I couldn't tell you the exact episode, but there was this one scene where you have Bill Bixby, who plays David Banner, because they didn't like the name Bruce because it was too gay, according to the producers.
All right. Bruce is a pretty strong name.
I'm not making that up.
All right.
Side note. But they have this whole episode that was about a special needs child, and this was in a very non-PC time. And Bill Bixby, who is the most earnest actor in the world, just looks at this kid, he's but Billy, it's not his fault. He's retarded. And he says it with so earnestly, no one could pull that line off. How has the internet not found this?
I think if the internet finds it and this blows up, we can trace it back to here. This is the day that we really made it.
It's one of those things that's it has to be seen to be believed, and they were doing their best for, at the time, trying to be sensitive and politically correct, and even trying to be maybe possibly educational about a social issue. But boy, was it just full of stereotypes. And
what would be fun?
It was bad.
If you go and you research this, listeners of the Editors Note Podcast, in the comments of that episode, say, Editors Note Podcast brought me here.
Please don't.
No. Then people will come and listen to the show. It's a way to generate... It's just I think that you missed a prime opportunity with the moron sign that's outside of your shop. You should have been hey, we're going to have a sale for Pokemon Go players.
It's still there.
5% off all items in the shop because there's 5 letters in the word moron.
I can't believe no one stole that yet. Every day I show up, I'm oh, it's still there.
I know, every day I drive by the shop, I'm it's still there. It's probably got a video camera on it.
I have no idea.
No.
It's just one of those things. I just keep expecting someone to steal it. I'm yeah, still there.
What about the other ones that get a job?
I guess. I mean, those ones have some cement around them and buckets. Would be heavier.
Oh, okay.
That would take an iota more effort.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so Leslie H. Martinson at 101, very good run, and created a really classic movie. He made the back shark repellent.
Is that the one where like Batman and Robin are like water skiing?
No, he's in a helicopter and a shark bites his leg, and Robin has to throw him down the bat shark repellent because Batman is punching a rubber shark who is just on like up to his thigh.
I would think that Batman would have several severed arteries and have lost a leg.
You would have thought, but no, they had bat shark repellent.
That Batman, what is he going to think of next? What a time to be alive.
Last bit of news. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, they're up at Canada, in Toronto.
Up in Canada?
Up in here. Up in Canada.
See, I knew this. I read this.
You saw something trending?
Yes, I did. Well, I saw Kevin Conroy trending. I was like, uh-oh.
I know. Whenever I see someone...
Keith Richards was trending this week, and I was like...
Whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, oh, they're dead.
Yeah. Whenever you see Keith Richards trending, I thought, like, the worst immediately.
Yeah.
And no, he's just curating a weekend of television program on BBC. I'd like to know more about, like, what he puts, like, what he curates for the weekend on the BBC, but no, I immediately thought, Keith Richards trending. I'm like, well, he had a really good run, and I thought that his turn would have been a long time ago, but he's still hanging in there.
But it was teased that there might be a couple of projects they're working on. Again, this is teasing. This is just them in front of a crowd. It might mean nothing. But someone said, like, what are the next things you guys are working on? And I think it was Kevin Conroy was like, I don't know. What do you think about Hush to Mark Hamill? He's like, I don't know. What do you think about A Death in the Family? And people were like, ooh.
Now, would they combine the two, or would they do...
No, they're so insanely different. A Death in the Family is famous for killing Jason Todd, but beyond that, it's not a very good book.
Hush, I hear, though, is a really good Batman book.
Hush is amazing. I mean, if you adapted Death in the Family, would you still have Joker getting diplomatic immunity in the Middle East?
Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, it's not a very good book. It's memorable for the death scene, but beyond that, there's not much to it.
The guy from Lethal Weapon 2 had diplomatic immunity.
How'd that work out?
He got shot in the face.
Well, there you go. Jason Todd got blown up and beat half to death with the crowbar.
I was going to say, didn't he get beat with a crowbar first?
Yeah, the bomb thing was really overkill.
Oh, cool.
Hush I would be all about. They've adapted most of the big Batman stories. Hush I would love to see. Another one would be great would be Long Halloween, which is a year-long murder mystery about a character who only kills on holidays and starts on Halloween. But Hush is a really good book. It came out in 2003, written by Jeff Loeb, with art by Jim Lee, Jim Lee's first big Bat title. And it basically gives you every single major Batman villain, the entire supporting Batman cast, one of the best fights he has with Superman. If you're looking to get into Batman, it's a really good Batman book, because they're like, here's everyone. And they all kind of get equal play. But we'll see. The downside of Hush, comparatively for Mark Hamill, is the Joker isn't in it a lot. It's like Batman and kind of everyone else. I mean, if he shows up for 5 minutes, great, but it's really not a big role.
It's not a Joker story.
No, I mean, a little bit, but just a little bit. Every issue has a different villain for the most part. And I think Hush might have been between 8 and 12, I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's move over to Marvel news.
Ooh, yes.
Jon Favreau is back as Happy Hogan in Spider-Man.
Ooh.
I don't really care that much. When they said it, I'm like, okay.
Well, I like Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I like him as an actor.
Does this mean we're going to get a Tony Stark appearance?
But yes, yeah. He's in that movie.
What movie isn't Robert Downey Jr. and that's Marvel related?
Ones that don't want to pay him $50 million. But, that's just a nice little thing that they're getting a little bit more play with characters going back and forth. A little more Spider-Man news, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's not supposed to be out there. There were some leaked set photos of yet another Spider-Man villain in there. So that's right, we're getting another Spider-Man movie with maybe too many villains.
Oh, like...
Because we haven't seen that before.
Spider-Man 3?
Or the last one. The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I didn't hate The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it definitely... I thought the reboot had potential with the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, because it felt more in tune with, like, Peter Parker.
Yeah, I have issues with it. It felt like a movie that was made by accountants.
Oh. I want you...
Marketing decisions.
I defy you, Internet, and I defy you, world, to make a movie that Zach won't bitch about.
I like Spider-Man 2 for the most part.
Spider-Man 2 is a good one. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Say all of it was good. What kind of a bank has gold coins in bags with a $sign on them?
That bank right there.
Apparently. That New York bank, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, please. What bank wouldn't have? I mean, money bags are a real thing.
If you want, there's set photos of what the villain looks like in costume. It looks fine, but at the same time, it's one of those like, oh, that leaked.
You might be to see who it is.
Well, that really takes away all.
Well, no.
I'll bleep that. I'll see if people can figure out your pun.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel drunk on wine yet again.
Atta boy, Vinny.
I'm not sure, but I feel like he is constantly drunk on wine.
I mean, there are worse things to get drunk on.
This was, compared to the last one that was 24 minutes, this was only 12 minutes.
Did you watch any of it?
I made it about 45 seconds. Because he just kept going,
now, how about watching the video? Boom.
He just kept going, oh my god, guys, you gotta give me a minute. Look up. Oh my god, guys, you gotta give me a minute. Oh, and after about the fifth one...
Do you think it's easy being Vin Diesel? It's not easy being Vin Diesel. Man's Groot.
Yeah, I don't think you need to Facebook Live for 12 to 24 minutes doing nothing.
Why not? People watch it. People soak that up, man.
But he was with James Gunn, and James Gunn was saying that he got to show Vin Diesel what one of the scenes looked like that no one had seen yet. And then it came out that people kept on asking James Gunn, how's Vin Diesel going to do Baby Groot's voice? He's Vin Diesel. And his response basically was, well, he's going to act.
Technology?
He's like, you think the guy who voices Homer Simpson sounds like that all the time? No, he's an actor.
Although Dan Castellaneta does kind of sound like Homer at times.
Whenever I see him in live action, I was like, what are you doing, man?
You could be making $1 million an episode for The Simpsons.
Like, at this point, you're beyond rich. Do you need to do any live action roles?
Maybe he does it for fun.
Maybe. But I never see him in good movies.
That's why he's doing them for fun.
See him in some made-for-TV movies, or that last Fantastic Four movie. Or wasn't he in one of the Transformer movies? It's all, like, whenever I see him, I'm like, oh,
they all blur together.
What are you doing, man?
There's another Transformers movie in production right now.
I know. We don't need to report on that news.
That's not really news. That's like sad. Pit of despair.
Because we'll never do a Transformers episode. Can't make me.
It's the sound of 10 of our 15 listeners turning off the podcast.
Got more than that. Last bit of news. One of the lost Doctor Who episodes is going to get redone. For those who don't know, Doctor Who, at the time when all these episodes came out, the idea of A, reruns, or B, home video didn't really exist. So the BBC just used to burn all their stuff.
Fair enough.
Like, in the fire with you!
Well, somebody has to keep warm somehow.
But because of that, a lot of Doctor Who, especially early Doctor Who, was lost to In the Fire.
I hope this episode of Doctor Who is named Out of the Fire.
It'd be funny, but no. It's an episode called The Power of the Daleks. And the reason that this is important, it shows the first regeneration from the first Doctor to the second, which those episodes have been lost to time and fire. It's going to air and then be online for streaming, so for those of us who just want to stream it later on. But maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad. There's over time, like, occasionally someone will pull out a lost Doctor Who episode. They're like, this has been lost for 50 years.
Does the fire rise?
It probably did around that celluloid, yeah.
The fire rises.
Remember the last time there were, like, lost Doctor Who episodes found? Like, we found these 2 stories. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Then I watched them, and I'm like, those could have stayed lost. They weren't good.
The fire was not good enough.
Yeah, it's like, just because they were lost doesn't mean they were good. And
some things that are lost should not be found.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I got really excited over nothing.
Oh, it happens.
It's like, oh.
Hope all built up for nothing.
Yeah, basically. But I think that will do it for the news this week. I'm out of news.
I don't really have any news to add. One day I'm going to come in here with something you don't know.
You could.
One day. Today was not that day.
But you looked at something trending on Facebook, so...
I did?
There you go.
Because I'm a local internet celebrity. With the face snap and the chat time. No?
Oh, FaceTime. I forgot that was a thing.
No, but see, I made a joke.
I know. But I was trying to figure out what it was. I'm like, what the hell are those things? Like, oh, right, FaceTime.
FaceTime isn't technically social media. It's like a video call.
Isn't the point of the phone that I can do other things when people are talking?
Yes, exactly.
Moving on.
For if knowledge is power, then a god am. It's time to get an editor's education.
You're one of those people that, like, you're on the phone, and if someone's saying something, you don't really care what they're saying, you, like, put it down or put it on your, like, shoulder or chest and wait for them to stop talking. Be like, yeah,
I'll usually put it on speakerphone.
Oh, but you don't usually hold it. You put it down and be like, all right, when they're done talking, I'll pretend I care.
Yeah, I mean, lifting the phone to my head is an extra level of effort I'm not willing to do.
Reasonable.
So I just put it on speaker and lay it down somewhere.
And then pretend to listen.
Well, then I can just walk around.
Yeah.
But in just a few weeks, Luke Cage is getting his Netflix show. So this week, for those who don't know, we're going to be talking about the comic book history of Power Man, Luke Cage, the hero for hire.
I know nothing about it. I'm here to learn.
I ran out of nicknamey things.
You what?
I ran out of nicknames for him.
Oh, well, I know he was Power Man.
Yeah.
And also in that trailer for Netflix, he beats a lot of people up.
He does have strength.
Yes.
Come with me now. We're going back in time.
Where? How far back? How far back? We're going 88 miles an hour? Do you have a DeLorean?
I don't have that kind of money.
Do you have a lead-lined refrigerator? Because that was what the original time machine was supposed to be.
Was it?
Yep.
I feel like I didn't know that. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. No, we're going to go back to the 1970s. And things are going to get funky.
Like Shaft?
Yeah, exactly like Shaft.
Shaft!
Well, this kind of came out of not Shaft exactly. But let me take you back to 1972. Luke Cage is introduced in Heroes for Hire #1, written by Archie Goodwin, written with art by the legendary John Romita Sr. I don't know why Archie Goodwin to get a legendary, but screw him.
Wow.
Hear that, Archie?
Archie stopped listening to the podcast. Archie's like, I'm gonna underrate
What do you mean
these
not
guys.
legendary?
I was gonna underrate these guys. They sound like they're an entertaining show. I want to help them reach their dreams of fortune, fame, and financial stability. Well, not anymore. Screw you, Zach.
I don't even need fortune. I just like, a bit.
Not to live comfortably.
Yeah, enough to do fine. Luke Cage isn't Marvel's first black hero, but he was their first black hero with his own title. And you're right, he kind of did come out of Shaft, but not just Shaft. This is a reaction to all the blaxploitation films at the time.
There's a joke in there to be made that he came out of a shaft, but we're gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah, you could do that. This is at the same time as like Blackula though and all that ridiculousness.
Yeah, I mean that was a big part of the '70s blaxploitation.
Yeah, I mean things being made cheaply but being targeted at an audience that was coming up in the world.
Yes.
So we have Luke Cage. And when he came around, he was in the Marvel Universe, but they didn't use him very directly with the other characters. It was kind of, here's our blaxploitation book, and we want young African-American readers getting into it, but we're not going to try and make this book too overly complicated by involving it with other characters. We're just going to keep it to street-level stuff, like stuff that the readers that we want reading this could look out their window and see something similar happening. Crime that you would see in Harlem or other boroughs
Also,
of New York.
like gang violence, theft, crooked cops.
One of the problems is not so much now, but for quite a while, I'm going to say like through the 90s with Luke Cage and a lot of other characters that were created to try and give diversity, even if it wasn't always for the best reasons, is that the black characters were very stereotypical. They were either from a gang, from a street, or from Africa. Like, in the most stereotyped versions of all of those things.
It's like Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, Black Panther has really, like, brought himself up, but you have a lot of those, like, very stereotyped.
What's the country that the Black Panther's from again?
Wakanda.
Ah, Wakanda, yes. The fictional country of Wakanda.
If you don't know that, then...
You would not do well on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
You're on your own. Luke Cage has risen above that now, but at the time it was like, yep, there's a black guy being written by white people kind of character.
Yeah, so it's great. He's getting a comic book. You have a person of ethnicity in your comic book, but where are the behind the scenes people?
Yeah, because Luke Cage in his youth was in a gang.
Well, a lot of people that are in gangs.
Let's check that off.
I was in a gang once. It's called the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, we were always prepared.
We were
for trouble.
Were you a Boy Scout? Did you ever do scouting?
Yeah.
How far did you make it?
I don't know.
I was done after Weeblos. That's when I got done.
Whatever
after Weeblos.
Whatever up to 8th grade would have gotten me.
I think that's Weeblos, or maybe that's like the Arrow of Light thing. I can't remember. Weeblos. We be loyal scouts. I remember that.
Luke Cage is a young boy. Grew up with a gang. Eventually he got out, but he had his friend Stryker, who was also in the gang. Stryker had a lady. Her name was Reva. You may have seen her in the Jessica Jones TV show, where she promptly dies.
Oh, well, that's not good for her.
And then in this book, she promptly dies.
That's not good for her health.
And Reva doesn't live long, no matter where she is. Stryker thought that Reva was leaving him for Luke Cage. Depending on what you go for history, Stryker either planted heroin in Luke Cage's apartment or framed him for Reva's death. Either way, Luke Cage sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit, even though they really hinted that he murdered a bunch of people when he was in a gang, but never came out and outright said it.
So, sounds like, again, another, like, anti-hero hero commit, crime he didn't commit. Like the A-Team.
Yeah. No, this is...
Love me some A-Team.
Especially early on, this is, like, hardcore, like, blaxploitation.
Okay. Is he good at athletics?
He is. He kind of runs that prison.
Oh, wow.
I mean, not with negativity, with, like, he's such a good fighter that things don't happen in that prison without him knowing. And but his whole thing is he's not trying to fight back against all the guards because he wants to get out of there and have his revenge on Stryker.
Stryker gonna get his.
And there's this whole thing with, like, prison guards and fighting with Luke Cage and all this stuff.
Has there ever been a character named Stryker that was, like, a good guy?
No.
So if you know anyone named Stryker, beware.
Screw them.
No, don't screw them, because it sounds like they'd be evil and, like, tear you apart. Just avoid being in their general vicinity.
So if you're going to be testing out some super soldier serum, do you know where evil doctors in the 70s would do this?
Oh, in a prison full of black people.
Yeah, there you go.
This is becoming a very racially charged show. Not really.
Not really.
We're discussing the history.
At the time, it's just take it as a positive of, like, yay, there's a more diverse cast of characters, but at the same time, boo, it was not handled in the most graceful of ways.
Reasonable and fair, I would agree.
And he's a character who's really coming to his own now. Like, once we get past the beginning is kind of rough, things get good for a while, then the 90s happen, and then things get good again.
Hey, the 90s were awesome, man.
Not for Luke Cage.
Oh, well, sucks to be Luke Cage.
In the 90s.
I didn't hate the 90s.
And the 70s, I guess, for Luke Cage.
I don't remember the 70s because I wasn't alive.
There is that. But Luke Cage is part of kind of an offshoot of the Super Soldier program, where they're trying to do cell regeneration, but someone tampers with it, tries to kill him. But whoopsie daisy, Marvel science.
Wait, did Stryker try and kill him?
Yes, let's say yes.
Okay.
I think it was a prison guard, actually, but whatever. Someone tries to kill Luke Cage.
Oh, no.
And that cell regeneration, well, that becomes bulletproof skin.
Well, good for him.
And on top of that, he also gets super strength.
Even better.
They throw down a bit after this, and he busts his way out of the jail because, super strength.
And bulletproof.
And this prison's on an island. So the guards come running up to him. He picks up a rock because he's going to, beat them up with a rock.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they're like, he's got a gun!
No, it's a rock.
Well, they shot him. But then he fell off the island, and they're like, well, he's dead.
No, he's not.
Well, then he just went to shore. He's like, works for me.
Excellent.
And he became a hero for hire. As long as you were willing to pay, he was willing to superhero for the price.
So very much like the A-Team.
Yeah. And he did it above Marvel's version of the Apollo Theater. He did it above the Gem Theater. Mm-hmm. It's just the Apollo Theater.
Oh, okay.
With a different name.
Fair enough. It's like generic Apollo Theater.
Gemneric.
It's like buying magic stars at Hannaford when really they're Lucky Charms.
Same idea, yeah.
Yes.
But eventually, after a couple of changes in creative teams, Hero for Hire turned into Power Man at issue 17, and this was to make him more of a kind of Marvel mainstay, make him a superhero, bring him in, get him interacting more with the other characters. He wasn't just Luke Cage, sweet TRO mercenary anymore. Now he was Power Man.
Like Power Man 5000?
They still around?
I'll fact check the show.
I imagine no. The next thing he did was to join the Defenders. This was a team that was not quite the Avengers, not quite an individual. He wasn't one of the founding members, but he was fairly early in there. This made him a little more mainstream, but then sales are falling. So he gets his third reboot, and he's now teamed up with Iron Fist.
By the way, Power Man 5000 started in 1991 and still active.
Good for them.
Current members include guys like Spider-One and Merv. Former members include Jesse Suave, Evan 9, Siggy 00, G-Flash, Johnny Rock Heatley, Al 3, and Dorian 27.
Okay, that's not a name. 27 is numbers. But Iron Fist sales were failing as well. Iron Fist was created essentially because of the boom of the martial arts movies. But much like your blaxploitation character, trends fade, and Iron Fist wasn't doing too well in the sales department.
And if you're not doing too well in the sales department, guess what happens to you?
You get teamed up with another poor salesman.
Or you get put in the fire.
In the fire with you! Much like a Doctor Who.
Yes. So Iron Fist is teamed up with
Power Man.
What would Power Man do? Why does he got to have like the Power Man's doing his job and he's kicking ass? Why does he got to get a crappy partner?
Because they weren't doing too good by themselves. But this is generally considered the best run of the character. It's compared to the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil run of Green Arrow, Green Lantern. This is a book that was built more on developing the characters and their back and forth and making them besties.
Buddy cops.
Yeah, essentially. As time does, Iron Fist dies, and the book is finally canceled at issue 125.
Time and tide wait for no man.
And then they kind of go away. And then they come back in the 90s, and then... Oh my god, we've been recording this whole time with... What are we recording on?
The internal mic, probably.
Oh, shit.
Oh, well.
Guess we'll see how this comes out.
Yeah.
I'm leaning into this. Oh! I think I'll leave that in there, that moment of realization.
I was like, But then I wasn't going to say anything because at that point I was like, well, now I'm still talking into the microphone that's not plugged in.
Well, lean into the computer.
Yes. All right. Well, anyway. Production values are what happens when you're a crappy salesman. You don't get good microphones.
This is why we don't have sponsors.
This is not the only reason.
Essentially, they tried and failed a couple times to bring him back in the 90s, but the idea of trying to diversify with one lesser-known character, one bigger books like the X-Men or the Avengers had a more diverse cast already, Luke Cage just wasn't working by himself.
The lone wolf, no more.
But he really comes back in a big bad way in 2001 in the Alias series, which is what Jessica Jones was mostly based off of, where he gets... Jessica Jones goes back and Alias goes back and fills in some blanks of Marvel history, and this kind of says what Luke Cage was up to during this time.
Not Alias, the TV show that was really wildly popular with J.J. Abrams, right?
No.
Okay.
Alias with Jessica Jones. And if you haven't read those books, I won't spoil it too much, but it was under the Max line for Marvel, and Max just meant we're basically gonna curse and have blood and lots of sex. So that's what Luke Cage did.
Good for Luke Cage.
But the series is really well regarded and still is, and like I said, was basically the first 4 volumes of that is Jessica Jones, which was also very well received. And then kind of bringing him into the modern era, him and Jessica have a baby together.
Does the baby have bulletproof skin?
It's still just a baby.
Oh, so we don't know yet.
No. But Captain America asks him to join the New Avengers, which then becomes the Secret Avengers, which then becomes the New Avengers again, and then the Mighty Avengers, and he ends up leading a couple of those teams.
So you go from being new to secret to new again.
Yeah. And then heroic. And then mighty.
I like it.
And I don't think he's on an Avengers team right now, but that's fine. So basically from blaxploitation character to family man / Avenger. And he also has a bestie who's into martial arts.
With the name Iron Fist.
He's also not dead anymore. That's a thing.
Resurrection happens.
But, yeah, that's Luke Cage. Luke Cage in a nutshell.
He would bust out of that nutshell because he's strong.
And the nuttiest of shells.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
No, but now you know a little more about Luke Cage. Gets you prepped for the new series. Coming to Netflix in sometime. I feel like Netflix should be paying me for doing ads for them.
You're thinking everybody should be paying you.
I do.
Everybody, give me money.
Basically always.
Let's put a smile on that face.
This week's reading recommendations.
Reading recommendation is based on our Luke Cage discussion.
I would say go back and read the third run of Luke Cage, starting with the Power Man, when it switched to Power Man and Iron Fist.
Power Man 5000.
Or if you're interested in some of the rereading Alias with Luke Cage is really good, or reading the Mighty Avengers when he was the leader of that team. Luke Cage. He's also going to be getting a new series relatively soon, and he also just got a rebooted series a few months ago of Power Man and Iron Fist yet again, so there's plenty of Cage to be had. That's also the name of his next book, is just Cage.
And here I was sitting here thinking that Luke Cage was a guy in Mortal Kombat. That's Johnny Cage.
He's an actor.
Yes.
Letters to the editor.
Here's your letters to the editors. To submit your questions, email us at editorsnotecomics@gmail.com.
Who do you think is the sickest or most twisted villain? And I'm going to throw a little addendum on that and say, in comics.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question.
Because villains are so often written as being, I mean, less so in the beginning, but now written as more sympathetic characters. So it's hard to say, like, well, this one is... Oh, I have an answer, I think.
Okay.
Mr. Zsasz.
Who the hell is Mr. Zsasz? Sounds like a guy you want to hang out with. Look at this weekend. Oh, me and Mr. Zsasz are going to hang out and be zazzy.
He's the biggest serial killer on the Batman side of things. Every time he kills someone, he puts another tick mark into his skin, like in series of 5s. And some stories will have it like his body is like covered from head to toe to the point where like he can't put any more little dashes on himself.
Wow. Mr. Zsasz.
Because people will be like, oh, the Joker's killed like... I mean, the number varies all the time depending on the story, but it's like, you know, maybe less than 100 or maybe like 300, but compared to Zsasz, who's like definitely hundreds and hundreds of hundreds, with a knife, with no remorse, and he just lives to like add those additional check marks to his body. He's not a character who really has like the tragic backstory of Mr. Zsasz. Like, no, psychopath, and he's murdered just a ton of people.
I would say maybe like, what about the Penguin?
He's more of a businessman.
It's kind of...
You're just thinking about the Burton
Cobblepot. Yeah.
Yeah, the Burton movie's gross. If you want to go with the Burton Penguin, because he's the one who just speaks in gross innuendo and bites people's noses.
And looks to steal the children of the city.
In a giant duck.
Yes. The Joker's like way too easy of an answer for this, though.
Yeah.
He's pretty twisted. What about like Green Goblin, Harry Osborn?
I'd just go with Norman. Oh, Harry's Norman. He's like, I'm doing drugs and I'm whining and man. I could go with Norman Osborn.
Norman Osborn.
I'm crazy and I'm killing women, but then I'm sleeping with them in the past and making twins, and then I'm becoming a major government power. And then I'm evil again.
Lex Luthor?
He believes in what he's doing. He has conviction.
And most villains don't? Or some men just want to watch the world burn?
Some men are luchadors.
Luchadors?
That's what Bane is.
A luchador is like a Mexican wrestler.
Yeah, he's from a Mexican prison.
Oh. But a luchador is a Mexican wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, lucha libre is a style of wrestling.
Yeah, he's a luchador.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't always British. He wasn't always Bane. Not Tom Hardy.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, no, he came from a Mexican prison in the books.
Oh, okay.
Where he was a luchador.
Good for Bane. L. Bane.
Yeah. I don't know, who do you got?
I was just listening some off to see if what you felt.
Oh.
I really can't speak with any authority on this. No, I think like the Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, they're pretty hell-bent on destruction and they don't really care. Just out for, hell raising and wanting death. You could say the same. I mean, the Joker is like the easiest answer of them all because he doesn't really care at all.
He likes to beat children with crowbars.
Yeah.
Shoot girls through the spine.
Break his own neck.
He does do that. It's problematic.
Yeah, it's not very good for you. Yeah, I'll go with the Joker.
No one will say you're wrong.
Thank you. People are going to say me because I reheat pizza.
The most villainous, twisted thing you can do.
I know. Of all the bad things I do in my life.
Twisted fiend.
I know. I'm a real jerk. Where can we find you?
The internet. So many places on the internet. The show's all over the place. Editorsnotecomics.com, which I'm now putting out what releases are coming out every week if you want to see what's going to be coming up to help plan a little bit better. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I'm taking a second to explain how the clink bags work. Because was there some confusion around that. And yeah, I've taken some flack for it, but I don't care. You make money where you can.
You're taking quite a bit of flack for it, actually.
Look, I have some bags in the store. You take the bag, you bring it home, you fill said bag with bottles. Don't bring the bottles back to me. Go to, I think, any Hannaford, and then you just scan it, and any money would go to things like an advertising budget, or really just all of those not necessarily day-to-day store-related items. And also to do more podcasting equipment.
I think it's hilarious that people are bringing the cans back to the store.
No one's done that yet, but there's a confusion like, are you just running a redemption center now? Like, no.
The Editors Note Comics Editors Note Comics and Redemption Center.
Don't bring the bottles back. Take the free bag. But that will go to,
charity?
No, just help. Oh, there might be a charity thing coming up. But it will just go into advertising or podcasting equipment, stuff like that. But yeah, bring them to Hannaford. Don't bring them to me. The bags are free. except for me. So, if you take one, actually use it, please.
I would love to see people bring the bags. Just leave them out front of the shop. I would laugh.
Well, I'd have to be like, damn it, I have to take it, don't I?
Well, you would.
I couldn't just be like, no.
Take your bottles elsewhere.
But no, it's not a redemption center.
Good to know. Side business.
Where are you at in the world?
You can find me on Twitter at Junior Rich,
where you may or may not answer people's tweets.
I answered tweets from Ross the other night. We were both watching football and had a wonderful conversation about adult things.
Adult things.
Like football.
Not this show, baby.
And manly things like, sports and beer.
Was he making fun of you?
No, he wasn't making fun of me. We were talking about the game. Because he knows that I know a little bit about football.
Football.
No, that's soccer, and that's different. We don't talk about that evil game. It's football. It's week 1 of the NFL season. So I got to get my picks in this week. I got to get them in ASAP. I'm the defending champion of the pick'em pool that I'm in.
But that'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week. Toss it in the fire. Something. I don't know.
Toss it in the fire.
We don't have catchphrases.
To the fire with you.
Go get them pastries.
I don't. Oh.
Can you force a catchphrase?
No, but I heard a couple of things on the radio today. That's a weird thing to leave the show on, but this guy, Jerry Jones, who is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, is known for saying weird things. And it was on the Jim Rome radio show. And he was talking about, he had once said, that's a waste of time, like trying to circumcise a mosquito.
Huh.
And then his other one that he said is, well, that's lower than a lame cricket's ass.
Quite a wordsmith.
Food for thought.
I'll be back next week. See ya.